The life of Ibn Sina is one of the most inspiring stories in the history of science and philosophy. He lived during the Islamic Golden Age, a period when knowledge, medicine, mathematics, and philosophy were rapidly advancing across the Muslim world. Born in 980 CE in Bukhara, Ibn Sina became one of the greatest scholars humanity has ever produced. His works influenced both Eastern and Western intellectual traditions for nearly 1,000 years. Early life and extraordinary intelligence. From childhood, Ibn Sina showed signs of exceptional intelligence. He was raised in a well-educated environment where learning was highly valued. By the age of 10, he had already memorized the Quran and studied Arabic literature. He quickly moved beyond basic education and began exploring advanced subjects like logic, mathematics, and natural sciences. His intellectual curiosity was unmatched. It is recorded that he would study difficult texts repeatedly, sometimes reading the same book dozens of times until he fully understood it. He also studied philosophy, especially the works of Aristotle, which later shaped much of his own thinking. By the age of 16, Ibn Sina had already begun practicing medicine. Unlike many physicians of his time, he combined observation with reasoning. He did not rely only on traditional teachings. Instead, he tested ideas through experience and logical analysis. This method made him stand out as a revolutionary thinker. Rise as a physician and scholar. Ibn Sina's medical abilities became widely recognized when he successfully treated a ruler suffering from a serious illness that other doctors could not cure. As a reward, he was granted access to a royal library. This moment was life-changing. The library contained thousands of rare manuscripts covering medicine, philosophy, astronomy, and mathematics. Ibn Sina spent years studying these texts, expanding his knowledge dramatically. He soon gained fame as one of the most skilled physicians of his time. People traveled from distant regions to seek his treatment. His approach to medicine was systematic. He carefully observed symptoms, diagnosed causes, and prescribed treatments based on both theory and practice. Major works and intellectual contributions. One of his most important contributions is the famous medical encyclopedia, the Canon of Medicine. This massive work organized all known medical knowledge of the ancient world and added Ibn Sina's own discoveries. It was so detailed and structured that it became a standard medical textbook in both the Islamic world and European universities for centuries. The Canon discussed diseases, anatomy, hygiene, surgery, pharmacology, and methods of treatment. It also emphasized the importance of cleanliness, quarantine, and experimental medicine, concepts that were ahead of his time. Another monumental work is the Book of Healing. Despite its name, it is not focused on medicine. Instead, it is a vast encyclopedia covering philosophy, logic, mathematics, physics, and metaphysics. In this book, Ibn Sina attempted to explain how the universe works and how human beings can gain knowledge. His philosophical ideas blended Aristotelian logic with Islamic thought, creating a unique intellectual system that influenced later thinkers. Beyond these two major works, Ibn Sina wrote more than 450 books and treatises on subjects ranging from astronomy and psychology to geology and music. Although many of his writings have been lost, the surviving ones show the depth and diversity of his knowledge. Philosophy and scientific method. Ibn Sina believed that knowledge should be based on reason, observation, and logical proof. He rejected blind imitation and emphasized critical thinking. His method was highly scientific for his time. He observed natural phenomena, formed hypotheses, and tested them through reasoning and experience. In philosophy, he explored deep questions about existence, the soul, and the nature of reality. He argued that the human mind has the ability to understand the world through intellect and reasoning. One of his famous ideas is the floating man-thought experiment, which suggests that self-awareness exists even without physical senses. Challenges, travels, and political struggles. Despite his brilliance, Ibn Sina's life was not peaceful. The region he lived in was politically unstable, with frequent wars and changes in rulers. Because of these conditions, he often had to move from one city to another, sometimes under difficult circumstances. During these travels, he continued writing and teaching. Even when he faced imprisonment or political pressure, he never stopped his intellectual work. This resilience shows his deep commitment to knowledge. Later life and death. In his later years, Ibn Sina settled in Hamadan, where he continued his medical practice and writing. However, his health eventually declined due to overwork and illness. He died in 1037 CE at the age of 56. Even after his death, His influence continued to grow. His books were translated into Latin and became essential texts in European universities during the Middle Ages. Scholars in medicine and philosophy studied his work for centuries. Legacy and global impact. Ibn Sina is often called the father of early modern medicine. His contributions shaped the development of medical science, especially in diagnosis, pharmacology, and clinical practice. His systematic approach helped move medicine closer to a science rather than superstition. His influence was not limited to medicine. In philosophy, his ideas contributed to Islamic philosophy and later European scholasticism. Thinkers like Thomas Aquinas were influenced by his writings. Today, Ibn Sina is remembered as a symbol of knowledge, curiosity, and intellectual excellence. His life shows how dedication to learning can transform. Conclusion. The story of Ibn Sina is not just a historical biography. It is a lesson in the power of education, curiosity, and perseverance. From a young boy in Bukhara to one of the greatest scholars in history, he proved that human potential has no limits when guided by knowledge and determination. His legacy continues to inspire doctors, scientists, and students across the world, reminding us that true greatness comes from the pursuit of truth and understanding.